The Incredibles was one of the greatest animated action movies of the early 2000s. It was about two superheroes who met in their line of work and decided to start a relationship and later begin a life together. They gave birth to 3 kids who also had powers, and they decided to use their gifts in saving the world from villains. It was one of the greatest bombs in the box office, and today we shall get to remember the heroes and villains who featured in the show, then get to see the incredible people who voiced the characters and how old they've gotten today. And before beginning with the heroes, we shall first get to see the fashion designer who made the suits for the Incredibles. Edna was a woman who tailored iconic suits for all the heroes in the film and was a close family friend of the Parr family. She was a half-Japanese and a half-German lady, and was a brilliant and successful designer who understood the assignment that was always given to her by the heroes. She mixed both skills and technology to tailor great suits which blended with the hero, and an example is how she made Helen's suit to stretch just like her powers, or even the suit of Dash, which was made to counter friction with speed, kind of like the suit that the Flash from DC wears. She was very talented, and was voiced by a man called Brad Bird, who has done creative animations for more than 40 years and is also an author for a book called Ratatouille. The first hero we'll talk about is Elastigirl. Her real name was Helen Parr, and was married to another superhero called Bob, with whom she mothered 3 kids who we shall look at later. She had the power to stretch her body to great lengths and mold it into any shape and size that she could think of. After marriage and being a mother, she decided to stop being a superhero and focus on raising her family. But after receiving news that there was a new villain in town who was unlike what she'd ever seen, she decided to go back to her old days as a hero. She was such a good fighter and an awesome mother to the kids, and was a housewife who took good care of his husband when he came back from job. Voiced by Holly Hunter, who also took part for the role in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice of 2016 and Saving Grace, which ran for 3 seasons as from 2007 to 2010. Helen's husband was Bob Parr, whose superhero name was Mr. Incredible. He had the power of strength and was like Power Man from Marvel. He was the most iconic hero back in the days, but after getting married and having kids, he settled down in a quiet estate and got a job like a normal human being. The reason that both Bob and Helen stopped being superheroes was because people sued them for destroying their property while fighting villains and were banned from being heroes. But just like his wife, he took the role as Mr. Incredible after hearing rumors that a villain was rampaging the world. His body was invulnerable and also had super strength and super senses which he used in fights. Voiced by Craig Theodore Nelson, who just like his character Mr. Incredible, is a father of 2 boys and 1 girl, and is an American actor and voice actor. Lucius Best was also a superhero but was not a member of the Parr family. His hero name was Frozone, and was the best friend of Mr. Incredible and a close family member of the Parr family. His power was to create ice and freeze surfaces by manipulating moisture and changing air molecules and water molecules to solid ice. He helped Mr. Incredible in his missions and was also his best man at his wedding. The kids always called him Uncle Lucius, and was kind of like their godfather indirectly. Bob was known to be the greatest superhero, but Lucius was known as the coolest superhero on the planet and was mostly in magazines and sponsorship merch and was an idol figure in the marketing industry. He was voiced by the iconic Samuel Leroy Jackson, who is one of the most widely recognized actors of his generation, and is a legend in S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Marvel industry. One of Bob's and Helen's children was Violet Parr, who was the eldest and the only daughter among the 3. She also gained powers like turning invisible and creating protective force fields at will. She was everything you'd expect in a teenage daughter. Shy, gloomy, uncertain, and also had low self-esteem. Without using her powers, she always seemed depressed and lonely, especially in school. And even at home, she never wanted to be bothered, especially by her brother called Dash. But once they all went to the mission of stopping Syndrome, she seemed redeemed and was more sure of herself and courageous. It was Sarah Vowell who voiced her, and is a historian and an author of both historical and cultural books and essays. Syndrome was once a 10-year-old fan who always fantasized of working together with Mr. Incredible, but after getting rejected multiple times, he swore vengeance on Mr. Incredible and decided to become an anti-hero better than his idol. Fast forward to when he was 25 years old, he already created a version of himself who was a powerful villain that created the Omnidroid robots designed to destroy every living hero. He is still one of the greatest villains in Pixar history, and was known to be a vengeful and a bitter person who let his emotions run wild. He swore never to stop until Mr. Incredible and his family paid the price. But his scheme came to an end when he passed away at the end of the film when his superhero cap was tangled in the spinning blades of the jet turbine. One of the most ruthless villains voiced by Jason Lee, who is an actor and mostly a photographer and a former professional skateboarder. Jack was the most powerful being in the film, and maybe the most powerful in Pixar Studios right now. He was the youngest son of the Parr family and was most probably 2 years old in 2004. He started off not having any powers but would later gain more than 20 high-level abilities such as shape-shifting. He could convert his form to smoke, water, and rock. He could set himself on fire, kind of like Johnny from the Fantastic Four. He could also transform into an indestructible monster. He could change his size like Ant-Man. He could vibrate at high speeds and phase into matter like the Flash. He could move objects with his mind. He could fly. He could teleport. He had laser vision like Superman. He could generate electricity. He could duplicate himself. He had super strength like his father. I mean, this kid is basically stronger than any hero in existence. Voiced by Eli Fusile, who also appeared in SWAT of 2017. Dash was the eldest son and the second born to Helen and Bob. He was 10 years old and was the most hyperactive of the kids. He was a speedster who loved causing chaos both at home and at school, and was also known to eat a lot because of his fast metabolism caused by his insane speed. He was not supposed to use his gifts in school because it could blow his cover, and was also not allowed to participate in any kind of sport. He was just like the Flash with powers like running fast. He could run on water, and would move in frames that are impossible to see even with a camera. He was voiced by Spencer Fox, who is a former child actor and the lead guitarist for the indie rock band called Charlie Bliss, which he founded in 2011. Gilbert Huff was just a minor character and the employer of Bob at Insuricare. He valued his business more than he valued his employees, and was known to be a greedy and an ill-tempered boss. He did not like people who were taller than him, and this made Bob's job there a living nightmare. He wanted his employees to work overtime with low pay, and never wanted anyone to come to work late. Basically, he was just like any other boss we have in today's world. He was voiced by Wallace Shawn, who is also the one that voiced Rex in the entire Toy Story franchise. The Underminer only appeared at the end of the film, and was a mole-like villain who was also a bank robber and a peacebreaker ready to destroy the love and unity in town. He was a lowlife who wanted to be known as one of the greats, but we never saw him in action with the heroes, and his role was briefly continued in the 2018 version of the movie. He was voiced by John Ratzenberger, who is also the voice of Ham in the Toy Story franchise and the Abominable Snowman in Monsters, Inc. And other people who appeared in the film were guys like Tony Ridinger, who was the crush of Violet and was also seen in the second version of the movie in 2018. Bernie Kropp was the teacher of Dash, and was the one who always fell under his pranks. Rick Dicker was a government agent of the NSA, and was supposed to give the Incredibles missions to take. Rusty McAllister was a fan of superheroes who was seen surprised after getting into contact with Mr. Incredible while riding his bike. Bomb Voyage was a longtime enemy of Mr. Incredible, and was a villain who was an expert in explosives and was a bank robber who looted banks while wearing traditional mime makeup. Mirage is still one of the hottest characters to date, and was Syndrome's assistant who was known to be calm and a misled woman. Carrie McKean was the best friend of Violet who was seen babysitting Jack while the other family members went on the Syndrome mission.